Hi, my name is Mikhail Casera, but you can call me Michael. I'd like to welcome you all to the oral defense of my research for the master's degree in history at Arizona State University. Today, I'll be presenting and defending from my 2023 research paper titled Typhoid Mary, Contagion and Conflict in 1900s New York, which was originally written for Dr. Cole de Peralta's research seminar in science, technology, and medicine. While going through class materials involving Mary Mallon, I asked myself, what were the implications of her pattern behavior and what impact did her choices have on public health? In setting out to answer these questions, I'll briefly discuss who Mary Mallon was, provide my argument and methods, summarize the historiography of the field and where my research fits in, present my findings, and finally, offer my conclusions. I hope you all enjoy. Mallon was born on September 23, 1869, in Cookstown, Ireland. She likely attended a school in Cookstown where she developed strong reading and writing skills. Mary immigrated to the United States in 1884, where she worked as a cook and became the first known healthy carrier of typhoid bacteria. While working as a cook, Mallon refused to accept the fact that she was passing typhoid to unsuspecting victims who ate the food she prepared. In total, she infected 51 people. 3 of those individuals died. In response, the New York City Health Department determined that the best course of action was to quarantine her at North Brother Island from 1907 to 1910. After her release, Mary agreed that she would not cook due to her status as a healthy typhoid carrier. However, in 1915, after officials discovered that she was violating her parole agreement and more people began to get sick or die, Mary faced the grim reality of being placed in isolation for the remainder of her life. I assert that, despite her public denial, Mallon was aware of her medical circumstances as a healthy typhoid carrier. Furthermore, she deliberately defied public health norms and social expectations by returning to work as a cook, despite her prior agreement not to do so upon her release from isolation at North Brother Island, while also disregarding the efforts of first responders and medical professionals trying to assist her. In discussing the methods I employed in this research, I adopted a storytelling approach for both the introduction and conclusion, which helps to frame Mallon's actions within a broader social context. Furthermore, I focused on primary source analysis to develop my arguments, particularly examining Mallon's behavior and its effect on public health norms. Also, press articles from 1907 and 1915 were crucial in triangulating Mary's decisions. Insights from Dr. George Soper, who encountered Mallon before her first detention in 1907 and again in 1915, reveals her struggles to understand her identity as a healthy typhoid carrier. His systematic investigation highlights the complexity of her condition and the public health implications. Additionally, Mallon's letters offer a unique look into her thoughts, showcasing her awareness of her situation. By combining these archival sources, this research illuminates the tensions between Mallon's personal choice and the societal expectations of her time, ultimately contributing to a deeper understanding of the intersection between individual agency and public health policy. In discussing historiography, the 1979 article titled Mary Mallon, alias Typhoid Mary, by Mary C. McLaughlin, focused on biographical data and narratives in which Dr. McLaughlin argued that Mallon refused to accept that she was a source of illness and untimely death. Fast forward 16 years to Andrew Mendelssohn's 1995 work titled Typhoid Mary Strikes Again, which examined the societal and scientific factors that influenced public health. Mendelssohn argues that Mallon was indefinitely isolated due to social circumstances and her classification as a carrier. In Judith Leavitt's 1996 book, Typhoid Mary, Captive to the Public Health, she drew on historical research to illustrate why Mallon was a scapegoat and claimed that Mallon's story can shed light on modern issues and guide us in discovering solutions to societal challenges today. Jacob Steer Williams argues in his 2020 article, A Menace or a Martyr to the Public's Health, that things beyond medical science, such as gender, class, and immigrant status, shaped Mallon's treatment. I contribute to the field of modern medical history by examining how Mary's actions deviated from public health norms and how her need to work compromised public safety. Furthermore, what makes this research unique is the intricate exploration of Mallon's lived experience as a healthy typhoid carrier, along with an analysis of the complex interconnection between Mallon's behavior and public health norms in early 20th century America. Mallon, despite denying it, recognized her condition as a healthy typhoid carrier, as indicated by her correspondence with her lawyer George Francis O'Neill in 1909. She acknowledged her positive tests for typhoid bacilli and was aware of available treatments. However, her selective understanding raises questions. If she knew that bacilli were in her bowels and gallbladder, how could she not understand it was also on her hands if not properly washed? Mallon further defied public health norms by returning to work as a cook after her release from isolation. Research by Soper noted her employment at a sanitarium in New Jersey in 1914, followed by her role at Sloan Maternity Hospital in New York City in 1915. She also worked in various establishments, including a Broadway restaurant and hotels. Her actions reveal a persistent disregard for public health regulations and underline serious concerns about her impact on community health. Mallon used two aliases following her release from isolation at North Brother Island in February of 1910, openly defying social expectations. As noted by Soper in a 1939 article, Miss Mallon used the name Marie Breshoff, which afforded her some anonymity as she navigated various employment options. Additionally, while working at Sloan Maternity Hospital, she adopted the alias Mary Brown. Furthermore, Mallon deliberately defied public health norms by returning to work as a cook. In 1910, Mary signed an affidavit promising not to return to cooking. However, despite that agreement, she returned to work as a cook, ignoring the public health protocols put in place to prevent future outbreaks. In defense, a 1915 Sun article explains that Mary deliberately elected to throw her freedom away by returning to work in the kitchen. In a 1919 article, Soper explained that Mallon deliberately took chances with people's lives, working in a hospital where the risk of detection and severe punishment were exceptionally high. In considering the counter-argument that Mallon innocently violated public health norms and social expectations by cooking, she wrote in the 1909 letter to O'Neill that she felt completely fine. In relation, one must consider the possibility that Mallon unknowingly transmitted typhoid to those for whom she prepared meals. Notably, there is an article published by the Evening World in April 1907 that states she is such a healthy-looking person that no one would suspect her of carrying germs in her system. Focusing on the use of no one in this statement is essential. Would it not be safe to say that Mallon fits in the no one category when considering that she was a healthy carrier? Mallon violated public health norms by not washing her hands while working at Sloan Maternity Hospital, which was standard practice there at the time. Dr. James W. McLean, the first head physician of Sloan, insisted that the hospital's hand washing practices were the standard measures for safeguarding against infections. Dr. Edward B. Cragen, the head physician at Sloan, while Mallon worked there, described how Mallon's hands became soiled with their excrement and she infected the food due to careless habits and negligence. Furthermore, the implications of this dangerous situation underscores the importance of cleanliness when preparing food for vulnerable patients. Mallon's violent behavior directed towards public health workers not only defied public health norms, but also challenged social expectations in the face of a public health crisis. Dr. Josephine Baker, who rode with Mallon to the hospital before being put in quarantine, said the experience was like being in a cage with an angry lion. Additionally, Soper recounted his initial encounter with Mallon, in which she picked up a carving fork and aggressively advanced towards him. While it is never appropriate to pick up a knife or any weapon, such moments can drive individuals to make irrational and impulsive decisions. In conclusion, in discussing the significance and relevance of this research, a pattern emerges in Mallon's behavior, highlighting a significant disregard for public health norms and social expectations as a healthy carrier of a contagious disease. However, The goal of this research was not to label Mallon as a criminal, but to examine how her behavior contradicted public health norms and social expectations of the era, while also aiming to answer the question, what were the implications of Mallon's behavior and what impact did her choices have on public health? Additionally, my topic and argument are relevant to the field of modern medical history because this research highlights the tension between individual choice and public health norms, adding to the existing historiographical field that typically analyzes Mallon's life story or societal influence. Also, the limitations of this research is that it relied on historical documents that might have been swayed by social norms of the era. In discussing what I may have done differently, I would have liked to delve deeper into personal accounts and testimonies of individuals that interacted with Mallon. And finally, I hope you all enjoyed this journey as we look deeper into Mallon's behavior and its impact on public health in early 20th century America. Thank you.